Hey, what's happening everyone? I'm Christian and this is Crypto Ripto. So in today's rundown, we're going to talk about the Bitcoin price. We're going to talk about where Bitcoin is now, where we see it going, the all important decross that everyone's talking about, and are we still in a bull market or are we seeing signs of Bitcoin falling down into that phase of the Y-cross stage and we're about to happen upon the all dreaded bear market. Well, we're going to have a look at the price charts and see what they're saying. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, stay tuned and let's get into the video. Hi, so today I'm just going to go through basic technical analysis and basic fundamentals and give you my thoughts on what's happening with the Bitcoin price and where I see it going. So far over the last few weeks, I've been pretty accurate in what I've been sort of predicting with the Bitcoin price, where it's going to get shot down from resistance and where it's going to get shot up from support. But before everyone starts panicking and throwing fear to FOMO and selling everything at a loss and running for the hills, we need to look at, does this decross actually mean Bitcoin is going to shoot down, or is it just a delayed kind of reaction to the market where the dip has already happened and the decross is not actually going to affect the market that much? Also, there's news in the Bitcoin market that's absolutely, in my opinion, bullish, and where I think a lot of the institutional monies are going to start coming back into play and why they're just holding off a little bit. But let's jump into the charts and see what the Bitcoin price is saying. So this is a 4-hour chart, and as you can see, Bitcoin's took a bit of a clanger and a bit of a dump down. But if you've been watching this channel and if you've been following me for a little while now, you'll see that we did say that on this 50-day moving average here, Bitcoin would get a bit of a rejection yesterday, because obviously all the traders, all the smart money, they don't carry their positions into the weekend. So everyone that was in a long over the week, or everyone that's been seeing out any of this high kind of Bitcoin momentum that's been trading between these two trend lines, would have closed out the position, and it got rejected absolutely perfectly at yesterday the 18th at the 50-day moving average. And we've seen a bit of a drop for Bitcoin actually. So it pretty much wiped out last week's pump. So last week's pump, which happened on a Sunday, has gone up. We sort of tried to break the 200-day moving average, but it got rejected. That was a little bit higher. And then we've seen Bitcoin start to take a pretty much downtrend all week. And if we have a look at the price now, the exact same thing's happening. This is where we were kind of last week. And this is where we are kind of this week. So we've got last week there, we were sort of even lower where we are now. So this is what I'm saying. We were actually lower at this point last week than we are this week. And Bitcoin now is just starting to take a little bit of a U-turn and a decision line, pretty much as it did here. And exactly the same as last week, the volume is quite low. It's quite low here, but it's a little bit higher. But one of the other important things is last week when we done this, Bitcoin was showing a red cross, and it was showing a slightly sort of overbought, whereas now you see Bitcoin is absolutely rock bottom and oversold. So could this be a bit of a bullish momentum with Bitcoin? I personally think so, and I'll give you the reasons why. It's because I think this support line here, where Bitcoin at 34,600 has been quite a strong support for Bitcoin when it's been trading below this channel. Now, we did have support here when Bitcoin was trying to break out on the first pump, and it didn't break out till last week on the second pump. But if we just have a look at the price here, we had this massive major correction which really shook everyone out of the market. Then obviously, as expected, it bounced off the D line and we had this nice pump. Whenever you have a pump like this, you're going to have a little bit of a correction, which we did. Then we have a nice pump, we have a little bit of correction. Now, I would have liked to have seen it sort of bounce off this 50-day moving average and gone up a little bit. But obviously we fell below it. You know, we were struggling to break it sort of before, like on Thursday, we were falling out of it. We were struggling to break it. That lost a bit of confidence in the market and it dumped. Now people are seeing, okay, Bitcoin is actually at a bargain price. Well, you could see it trade a little bit sideways and go up. But what? Because obviously it's very, very oversold here. And everyone was talking about this decross, and you know, we'll just look on a daily here. It's not actually happened yet. You know, it's like it could, but we don't know where Bitcoin's going to bounce. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's looking likely the lines are actually going to kiss. But all it needs now is a little bit of a pump to the upside. If Bitcoin gets rejected at this support here and bounces up, which it has done 1, 2, 3, 4 occasions, we could see a bit of momentum with Bitcoin just trading sideways still a little bit, and then we might possibly see some upside, because we have looked, and this is the Wycroft chart here, and we have looked, we're still going sideways. You know, this is why I don't understand so much fear and panic in the market, because we're not actually doing major drops. We're still higher than we were last week. We're still, you know, trending a little bit on the uptrend, a bit better than we were. If we go to the higher lows, you'll see here we've got the lower low, the lower high. You know, it's still going on the up. And if you do this on the 4 hour, you see we're still putting in, on the 4 hour, we're putting in higher highs and higher lows. So that's not majorly alarming for Bitcoin. And you see it's still trending within this sideways capitulation phase that I keep talking about. And this is where the market, this means the market's exhausted, you know, and you can tell that from the volume. And I'll just go back to this chart. You can tell from the volume the market's exhausted. People are not buying, they're turning their back a little bit on Bitcoin. And the main reason the retail's turning back on the Bitcoin is the fear. The fear is in the market. There's absolutely abundance amount of fear still in the market. It's extreme fear. So that's sort of playing out the retail side. And I don't know if any of you have been following the economics and the news. Like, I actually write papers for companies on what I think is happening in the markets. I don't just do technical analysis. I actually write a lot of information that I give away to certain individuals and companies trying to look to invest in Bitcoin and what's going on. And from my research and investigation and looking into things, the big consensus in the kind of institutional market for these capital market people is the sort of economics of Bitcoin. Now, all this green issue that China that was using all the dirty coal to produce it, and that sort of went away. You know, China sort of turned off their kind of coal mining thing, and the ash rate went down, and that was a consequence of it. So that prompted the powers to be to form what's called the sort of Green Council for Bitcoin. And on the back of that, I won't go into too much detail, there's big companies sort of looking to, you know, contribute or build big green energies to mine Bitcoin. Now, I know there's a company in America that's trying to raise 800 million for an energy supply that's going to pledge over 300 million just for Bitcoin mining, which is a massive monumental thing. So once this happens, and even Elon Musk has said that once Bitcoin gets to 50%, which is not that far away now, you know, a lot of the mining start coming back to the US and Europe's massive on green energy and stuff like that. Bitcoin will be at 50% before we know it. And then once they tick their boxes, because all they care about is tick box exercises, they're going to start being bullish on Bitcoin again. And already these companies are starting to set their plans together, do their analysis, get the teams of people. We're not just talking about a couple of, you know, data analysts they're getting teams of people in to look at how they can put Bitcoin, the new asset class, because that's what Bitcoin is, the new asset class, on their books, because they can be sure their competitors are looking at this. So they need to start looking at it as well. And that's why some of them, not the big, and we're just talking about in the UK, I only do it for London-based companies, of reaching out to people that know a bit about the kind of economics as well as the crypto world. So the crypto world, how economics works, how the industries works, how finance works. You know, you've got to gel all these pieces together. They won't just take someone that looks at a couple of charts on YouTube or doesn't really know how economics works, never worked in finance or anything like this. They're looking at people with these key skills that are willing to do research, are willing to plug into channels that they've got. And that's where I stepped in and I looked at this. And I'm going to do a whole video on some of my findings. I'm going to pick out key bits and you're going to be absolutely blown away and surprised at what's going on for the smart money underneath for them to get back into this Bitcoin market. Because even the consensus in this area, and leave a comment in below if you work in this area yourself or you believe in this kind of thing or want to know more, leave a comment below of what you think, because the smart money is geared up and ready to pounce on Bitcoin, and they think Bitcoin is at a bargain price. They think anywhere below 40k for Bitcoin is massively undervalued and is at a bargain price. But it's not the price that's stopping these institutions from jumping into Bitcoin. It's the tick box. It's the regulatory tick box of, you know, the ethics. Every company needs to be seen to be doing good ethics if they're going to put publicly Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And this will start making sense when this green energy thing comes about, because Elon Musk, and I'll say more about this in my video, Elon Musk massively underestimated that how many of his shareholders in Tesla were part of a big green energy movement. He's got a lot of European investors. He's got BlackRock as one of its, I think, third major shareholders, who's massively into, you know, good economics and good kind of green energy and stuff like that. So he oversaw this, I think, which meant he had to drastically pull back from Bitcoin. And he then obviously wanted to be in the crypto space, so he was looking for other coins, Dogecoin, anything that was clean mined. But as we know, and as you know, Bitcoin is the master blaster. It is the king of all coins, and it always is going to be, and it always will be. I know a lot of people are saying Ethereum will overtake it and this coin will overtake it, but it won't. Bitcoin's the king of coins. Ethereum will do well, and I know these companies are even looking to get into Ethereum and other altcoins as an alternative, but that's not because Bitcoin's king. It's because they want to sort of get into, you know, it's like, for instance, you want to get into the dollar or you can't, or you want to get into the pound, you can't. So then you look back and think, we'll get into the euro. We'll look at what's the next strongest, because obviously we're priced out of this and this is not running the way we want it to do. So then we'll jump into the next kind of thing. That's what we're seeing with these institutions, and they're coming up. So this all relates to the Bitcoin price, because when you see the green here, this is normal volume, okay? The blue's low volume and the green's normal, okay? And, you know, for instance, it's like, I'll just double click this, you see? So we've got here very low volume, normal volume, and high volume. So 1 2 3 4 down, style 1 2 3 4 down is green, and 1 2 3 4 down is green. You see here. So when you've got this kind of area here with like boring volume, etc, not a lot happening, and we're sort of like looking to trade on the 4 hour where it's taking a turn. We've got even low volume here, we've got boring volume here, but when we took a turn we went into high volume. So high volume is pushing this up, it's keeping this momentum up here, and this is just retail money. So this ain't gonna push this super like ultra high volume here and get to these points where we're going to break resistance. So I think the key is how Bitcoin trades tomorrow. as long as we're not breaking below this sort of like lower high and pumping into lower highs, and we're not going to break down below this 34,500 mark, I still think Bitcoin is potentially slowly grinding its way up, and it's still bullish in my opinion. I mean, you can show me a chart, you can put something on there where you think Bitcoin's gonna, you know, drop down, but the one thing I won't have, and I don't care if you rip me in the comments for this or what anything is, I won't have someone just guess. We'll just say Bitcoin's gonna hit 20,000 because back in 2000, back in Bitcoin did this. Bitcoin in 2021 is not the same asset as it was back then. There wasn't a pandemic that it got through. There wasn't a kind of big surge of institutional investors looking to get into it, countries looking to take it on and adapt it as its main currency. None of this was back then, and this is new now. So this, I don't care what anyone says, Bitcoin's dynamics are changing, and they're changing very fast. And the reason we're seeing this kind of manipulation and downside is because companies were scared. Companies were scared that they were missing out. The institutions had FOMO, so they had to manipulate the price. Then it was getting manipulated by the powers that be, because even clowns like Elon Musk get excited. They get over excited and they start tweeting, and they see it as a game. You know, the euphoria hit him. He started seeing it as a game, but now everything's settled down. Companies are starting to wake up and think Bitcoin's here to stay. Bitcoin is sort of like, you know, the cool kid of asset class on the market, and people want exposure to it because it's giving them good returns, or the potential to have good returns than most of the other markets at the moment. And if we also have a look at what's happening, the normal markets are absolutely taking a battering as well. It's not just the crypto market. Every market at the moment, and I look at the other markets because that's where I was originally from, is taking a battering. So bear in mind that the Bitcoin price is only trading like this from retail. You know, next week will be a good indication on how we see Bitcoin starting to get about. And then we've got sort of like the Ethereum contracts on the 25th, I think. They're coming up for it to expire, so it'll be a big test for Ethereum as well. So there's a lot. Next week's going to be an interesting week for crypto. It's going to be definitely an interesting week for Bitcoin. Definitely be an interesting week for Ethereum, and it'll be cool to see how this plans out tomorrow. So we'll do another update tomorrow, and we'll get on there and we'll sort of go through the plan. But for me, I think Bitcoin's going to trade a little bit sideways. It might jump up and retest this 50-day moving average and maybe go sideways a little bit or jump down. But I think the big test and the big key will come tomorrow. So hang tight. Let's see what's happening. Don't believe in all the fear, FUD and FOMO that you believe with the big decross, because that's not happened yet. And there's no big volumes that are coming in here. Even on the sell-off here, it was just normal volume. We had a sell-off here, which is, you know, just a little bit above. But again, this was all based on the back of people closing out a lot of their trades, and it always happens on a Friday at the end of the week. You see some movement in the price. So I wouldn't be too fearful of that. And I definitely wouldn't keep believing all the stuff you hear in the media and the news about Bitcoin's going to go to 20k and altcoin season's over. We're in the bear market. The death cross is here. I mean, what do people actually base this nonsense on? Because yeah, the death cross it's not here. It's about here, but Bitcoin's already dropped so much. You know, this just could be a lagging kind of indicator that the decross is just catching up and confirming what we've already seen. And now Bitcoin could be slowly grinding, because it's putting in on the 4 hour, it's still putting in them higher highs and higher lows. So until it starts trend reversing on that, I am still reluctant to be fearful on Bitcoin at this moment in time until it starts breaking that key support, which I'm looking at here, of 34,500. And if it definitely broke the D line, which was the 30,000 mark, then yeah, we would be panicking a little bit. 31 to 30,000 mark, we would be panicking a bit, but we're off that at the moment, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. So hope this information has been informative. Please smack that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'll continue to give you real analysis alongside what's happening in kind of the economic markets, and also it's unscripted. It's not clickbait. It's not anything to do with like just trying to get you to click on it or anything like that. And I know a lot of YouTubers will give you kind of what you see on the charts, but they won't give you no economics behind it. They won't give you no background. They won't give you what smart money's doing or anything like that, because technical analysis doesn't give you just every insight. You want to know, you want to get ahead of the market. You don't want to be reacting to the market. You want to be proactive to it, and you want to know what's coming up in the pipeline. What's the big money thinking? Where can we see the signs? If you're saying Bitcoin's going to take a bounce and I'm still bullish on it, why are you bullish on it? Don't just say because I'm seeing it bounced here and it bounced there and stuff like that. We need to sort of understand, because yeah, technical analysis is key, it's important, because it will tell you the emotion in the market, it will tell you the volume, but also we need to know the news. We need to know what people are thinking in the background, behind the scenes. Is the consensus people are still bullish? Is the retail still bullish on Bitcoin? Is the institutional smart money still bullish on Bitcoin? Or are they retreating? Or are they reacting? Are they gearing up to pull away? Are they gearing up to step in? This is the kind of stuff we want to know. This is the kind of stuff we can plan and build portfolios on. So please just be a bit smarter. This channel is all about new people not getting conned, not getting wrecked, and not getting scammed. So hopefully this has been educational. Again, please slap a like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and please, as always, trade safe, trade smart, and don't get wrecked.